was like, I don't know about that one either.
Okay, we are live. Good morning, ladies.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Give a few minutes for a few people. You said
There's quite a few. There's 23 people who are waiting.
Who are waiting?
So yeah, they're here and ready, which is like super exciting. So a lot of you guys may have known if you checked out the newsletter we sent. It was also a couple days late, and during Mom usually does the questionnaires because I take a little bit longer to read the books, and I actually read the book electronically. I read it.
I paged it.
And
see, there was only
the
500 and
the reason I paged it is it was an Australian reader. Sorry. It was an Australian reader, and I felt like I could read faster in English than listen in Australian.
I know. I think that's right. I had a hard time, and we had talked about this, I think, a couple times in Fabric Chat, that when I first started reading it, I had to restart 3 times. And part of it was because the thick Australian accent of the reader, and then also that I read it at 1.25 speed, or listen at 1.25 speed. I did turn it down to 1.0 speed, and it was better. But the other thing is that, and maybe we'll talk about this at some point, it took me a really long time to get into the book. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so let's see. So you read it electronically. I did an Audible. And you read the page turner. Mm-hmm. Page turner. So let's start first with, I like to start this way so that we don't change our mind later, but how many stars? And let's have you guys put in there too. How many stars would you give this book? Of course, and it's on that 5-star format, 1 to 5. 1 is you would never recommend it. And in fact, you would be opinionated if somebody asked you. And 3 was meh. It was okay. I'm glad I read it, but not so much. And 5 is really possibly in a contender for the top 10 of your year. I think top 10 of all time, very, very different. Yeah, but top 10 of the year, it's always good to know at the end where they all shake out. So knowing that, put in, lots of, okay, before I look, tell me, what would you give it?
I would give it a 3. Give it a 3.
I have to say, for me too, I would give it a 3, and I'll explain why in a little bit.
I'm the same 3.
3?
Interesting.
No, I'm almost to a 4.
A 4.
Good. Okay,
good.
I have my reasons for not. Maybe a 3.5 somewhere.
So we'll explain.
Consensus is 4s. There's Linda McGregor gave it a 5, a 3.5,
a 5 for Linda,
a 3 to 4, a 4.5.
Mm-hmm. Lots of 4s.
Lots of 4s. A 3 or 4. So kind of the same.
And I'll tell you, since I'm a little harsh, I'll tell you. I'll start off the roll of why I did 3. So the first thing is that it took way too long to get into it. I mean, I would say that I was 25 to 30% into the book, and I feel like you have got to catch the reader fairly quickly, and if it's not instantly with that first, sometimes within the first 2 minutes, man, you're invested. Mm-hmm. And I think it was way too long for me to, in fact, I restarted it 3 times. The other thing is, I think the book in a book, I get it and I liked it. Some of it.
Yeah, I didn't mind.
That wasn't so much, but
way she wrote it.
I didn't feel like, I knew way too early who Polly was. I knew Polly was the baby. I totally knew that 100% from the very, very beginning. In fact, I was figuring out, doing the math. Okay, Polly's the baby. And it wasn't even questionable when, the other baby was found buried. Well, a dengue dog, whatever, is not going to bury dingo, whatever he was, is not going to bury the baby in the rose garden.
Yeah.
So, that was just so obvious. And I don't know why, the police didn't catch on to that whole bit. I thought that part was just plain stupid. And then, and I do think that the last 10% of the book was super good.
That's
it was
bang. They're very wordy. The first part of the book, like a 2, and then the last 125 pages
was fantastic. But I think so. So this is my question: does she deserve 5 stars for the last 10%? That part was good. It was very good. I liked the way it ended. I did not guess who did the murder. I did know, of course, it was poison, just because it couldn't have been anything else.
Yeah.
But I did not guess how or who did it.
Right.
So I
Until
didn't
the
guess
very
about
end,
the
yeah.
affair. That was a mind
That-
blower.
Yeah.
That
But
was
I
the
also
biggest
think
one.
she didn't set that up at all.
Yeah.
There was zero hints.
Even when they
for
were
that.
talking about Percy, and there was no weird
No.
remember when she was in that dress at the market?
Right.
There was nothing that would
No.
have thought, oh wait, that was
So
a very odd.
and so
remember?
that was
yeah.
That's right. And even I went back and read the beginning when he was writing up and trying to decide, and he was calling her Mrs. Turner.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, okay, so do you get credit for stumping me when you gave me not one hint?
Not one little
No.
kernel. Yeah.
No, you don't. So I think, so that was why for me, I kind of thought, But one thing I want to say about her is that she's like a well-known, famous, fantastic 5-star author. I was looking up some of the other stuff that she's read, written, which I have to say I've not read any of these, and all of these
I
are
have heard that too. I mean,
The Secret Keeper.
Yeah, I've heard that Kate Morton is a fantastic author, and people absolutely love her books.
Yeah,
And people read this one just because it's her. And I totally get that. We all have those same authors that
we love.
I don't
love.
need to know. I'm just
Yeah,
going to pre-order it and we're
read
going to
it.
wait. Yeah.
Right. Some of the ones, if you're not familiar with her, is The Secret Keeper, Lake House, and The Clockmaker's Daughter.
I heard The Clockmaker's Daughter is fantastic.
But it's like Kristen Hanna.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what she writes, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to start at 3 stars because she wrote it, and then anything over that. So I think she is Australia's Kristen Hanna.
Yeah. I
So
think so too.
anyway,
And Donna said, she absolutely gets credit for the complexity of the characters and the relationship building. Totally agree.
I agree with that.
I mean, there's almost mini stories of every little person inside this puzzle. And I kind of liked the idea of her giving us all this extra little backstory to everyone to really decide to figure out what really did happen. She really sold this thing of the murder suicide thing. I thought being a mom, there's no freaking way.
There was no way. I
freaking
never
way.
believed it was a murder suicide.
No.
Not one time.
No.
But I couldn't figure out who would have killed her, or well, anyway,
Yeah.
Right.
I
Okay,
felt
so
like
why
there
did
were
you give it a 3?
inklings that it was. I was telling Brandon earlier, I felt like it was definitely somebody in Percy's family. 100% from about halfway
Percy,
through it.
Really?
And it was. I mean, it
And
was Percy's wife.
it was
Well,
Percy's wife,
the
but there
sons
were-
though were involved also.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe there was this, the daughter got, pregnant by my son, so now I'm pissed off, or
Yeah.
but I also felt like there was a connection between Percy and Mrs. Turner. Just a little. He was so distraught when he found her. Not just that it's a gruesome thing,
Right.
but and then
I guess you are right.
and
that
that
he
little
was
pendant,
really,
he didn't buy it
But
for
that
his
seemed
wife.
natural though, wouldn't I mean, if
Well,
you
how
wrote
did
up
you
on
know
a
that he
family
didn't
link,
buy that bird for
wouldn't
his
you
wife?
be? Well,
There was
course, he
a
had other
couple of
reasons.
times where they were explaining that she liked the trinkety things.
Oh, that's true.
yeah. See, I
Yeah,
just
that's-
thought the bird
that's
that
true.
he
And-
bought was for his wife.
Well, they led us to believe that. I mean,
Yeah.
they never really said, but you're right.
Uh-huh.
She collected all of the little trinkety
The little trinkety things. It's like, I wonder. He could just be nice, and because it's a small
I kinda missed
town.
over that, but
I buy you something, whatever, because I saw it. But it was that whole I saw it and I
And
thought
see,
of
and
her.
I just thought
And
he
he
was so
never
adamant
said-
to find it because it was for his wife, and now she's gonna be mad at him because he missed dinner, and the birthday thing. Never thinking, oh, what if they found out it wasn't for Meg?
Right.
That
Well,
never even.
look at you.
The
Not
affair
even-
thing
it
was the most
never-
surprising thing.
The affair
agree.
thing, I didn't see that coming at all. Now, I want to back up for just 1 second, though, and that he was so distraught, of course. And I didn't think anything of that because I thought, oh, who could
wouldn't?
imagine
It was somebody
seeing
he
something
knew.
like that?
Yeah.
Right. To imagine seeing something like that in a small town doesn't matter. Even if you didn't know them coming on a car accident, that would be super, super devastating. So I have a question. For somebody who spent so much time developing characters, all of this, 6,000 page novel, whatever it was.
550.
What?
She's still stuck on that 17-hour read, guys.
Right. So what I want to know is I don't even recall, I was trying to think about it this morning. I don't even recall Meg's response when what was her response when she realized she had killed the whole family,
I don't
not
know if
just
they ever mentioned
Isabel.
Mm-mm.
I don't think they
because
did.
I know Meg was
Because-
she was definitely pinpointing.
Right. She only was going to kill Isabel. She didn't mean to kill the children.
Yeah, I don't.
And then she went to take care of Nora, maybe out of guilt, and she cleaned everything up and whatever. But that she cleaned everything up to.
They never
to try-
talked about her.
No,
after
they
that.
never said, "Oh, she went into this
That's-
depression. She couldn't get out of bed. She couldn't." Okay, she took care of the baby, and maybe in a weird way, but
Good
but-
point.
But I kept thinking, wait.
Especially just the pure descriptors of some of the things that we're seeing. The bird, you could like literally see it and know what it felt like. Yeah, and to skip out on this very
That it had to have been devastating. She
Yeah.
murdered
An
her
entire
boy and her son's girlfriend.
Mhm.
right.
You know, I mean, see, look at my hair standing up.
Goosebumps.
The thought of
Yeah.
that. How could you live with yourself? How
And the
could you
thing
live
of it
with
is
yourself?
that I don't think Percy and Meg, they knew each other were involved,
yeah, yes,
but did they know how much? And then apparently they
Mm-hmm.
never ever talked about
Yeah.
it.
That's what I
And I agree. How
What are
I
these
think
guys
it
saying?
bothered him for years.
of course it did.
And I kind of think when she died, then he was almost relieved to know, that she was gone. Of
This-
course, we
well,
know
the
that
secret
Nora
is,
was
yeah.
relieved,
Yeah.
to hear when she died. But if they never talk about what Meg's attitude
Yeah.
was all those years after
Yeah.
that.
Because it seems like in that story, it should have been that she had a little breakdown, or she,
Something,
didn't get
yeah.
out of bed, or what
Yeah.
are these guys
Yeah,
saying?
because same thing. And they didn't even also talk about Meg's reaction when the son brought the baby home.
Mm-mm.
They didn't even knew that, and indirectly trying to hide all of the evidence. I get that emotionally too. If you're over distraught, it's going to do red flags. But I think also that detective guy, whatever he was called, I don't think he was very good.
No.
I mean, I don't know.
No, he was an idiot.
Even though being the best,
Well, see, that
he
was-
was not good.
Well, when you talk about it,
I don't think he would have caught on to this extra
Even
distraught.
back in
Yeah, I-
1959. I mean, come
See, I
on.
thought, all the police talk in the first half of the book, which
Right.
took forever, it was never mentioned again.
Right.
How even when
Yeah.
she was, she contacted this Daniel Miller or his,
When
the niece or whoever, and she talked to other people to get all this information. And they talked about, well, we should find the police records, but she never did. She
No.
never went back and said, "Can I go through all these police records to see what was written down?" Because maybe they would have found out a lot sooner if there had been
Yes, she was.
some comment that somebody
Right.
made that she could have picked up on. But I just thought this book could have been 200 pages shorter. I did like the story or the book within a book
Within
and
a book.
everything, but I just felt like everything happened in the last 150 pages. And I think she
Right.
could have either started sooner with some of the clues, like Marcus, how much, we didn't know why. I mean, they said why him and John, they were kind of mad at each other, but Marcus had a whole bunch of other
Right.
issues. And then when Marcus brought that baby, did Percy know that it was his, and did Meg know that it was Percy's
Right.
baby? I mean,
Right.
yes,
There
it
needs
makes
to be
us-
like a book that's in Meg's perspective. I feel like we need to know what's in her head.
Yeah, it just can't. They brought up, the suspense of it was like, but then you were left hanging, and then something else was brought up, and then you kind of forgot about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think what she was trying to do, and it made sense to me, that finally, in about the middle of the book, there was a little inner story. Okay, it could have been him. Little
Yes,
inner
yes.
story, it could have been her. Little inner, and I liked that part. I liked wondering, oh, that does make sense. It
Mhm,
could have been him. Oh, that does make sense. But then I just keep going back to, for it being this big of a book, there was a lot missing. And again, I'm just going to hold on to. I read a lot of murder mysteries, a lot of right. All of us are Dateline fanatics, right?
Yeah.
So, if a baby was found buried in the garden,
Red flag.
no one
The dingo didn't
investigated
do it.
that. Dingo didn't do it.
Well, I thought
so
they just kind
I
of brushed
just-
off that this baby is missing.
Yeah.
You know, they just
Well,
never
they
came
just
back to
assumed that dogs. I mean, it was 10 years later when they discovered the body or whatever
Right.
it was,
Yeah.
or the baby.
And didn't do anything
And
about
didn't-
the
and-
buried baby.
And then
Yeah.
at the very end, I thought it was interesting when she talked, when Daniel Miller wrote it wrong, the ending of the book.
Yeah.
He did not know the end of the story,
Sure.
or he didn't write the end of the story, or just
Right.
however that turned out. I just thought those little things were kind of, and well, and then when we talk about, you know, like the pufferfish, I remember them talking about the pufferfish, and I knew it was a poisonous fish, but I didn't connect that dot cleared from here,
I kind
clear
of-
to there, you
Yeah.
know. So
I kind of did. I thought, well, that's a weird thing to bring up,
Mhm.
but that was one of those little things where, oh, here's a little clue, and then they'll bring it all together at the
Mhm.
end. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's see.
So,
what
yeah.
are they saying?
That was pretty. They all kind of on the same consistency. And also the sheer fact that everyone in Percy's family kept secrets. Every single
Every
person.
one of them.
Marcus
Right.
and Cindy saying Marcus knowing about the affair, the young son knowing about the baby. How did they keep all the secrets? Like
I
I
know.
totally agree.
mhm.
How do you not know somebody?
Yeah.
No, why is that happening? Even if there is a spiff with the boys over a girl, okay, we've all seen that happen. But it's not, I
Yeah,
agree with that.
it
The
was kinda
secrets itself.
interesting.
And all of the landscape descriptions. And other people said they enjoyed being there, acting like they're right next to somebody, seeing everything they're seeing. I do agree. I feel like being able to paint that picture
Yeah,
in your head is very
she's
nice.
a talented writer.
Hands
She
down.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and I absolutely will read her other three.
Yes.
I mean, not just three. She has a lot of them, but
I'm
I
gonna
absolutely
read a
will
one or
read
two
her
more.
books.
She's
yeah.
a
I think
very
she's
good writer.
very talented. I
Mhm.
just sometimes I think you think this should have been a series. It should have been 4 books,
It
and
could-
then
it
it
can
could
be,
have been
could
like
have.
the whole Bridgerton thing where it's about
Yes.
this person and about this family, and then bring it all together at the end or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So I want to go back for a minute about the secret keeper thing.
Yes.
It was true about that. So how do you guys feel? Let's go around and you guys answer at home. How do you feel about Nora keeping that secret from Penny all those years? Never, not even leaving a note, and even upon death saying, destroy it.
Yes. Mhm.
I don't even want my daughter to see this. See, look at my hair standing up.
It made
How do
me
you
not
feel
like
about
her
that?
at all.
I totally agree.
That she deserved everything she got.
100%.
Like
She
all of a
deserved it.
sudden,
No,
this little
that was
attachment
wrong.
that I thought she was so
So-
amazing. I immediately and we're done.
And
I
we're done.
can see her not telling her daughter, telling her at some point it becomes too late. But how do you tell a story is that my baby died and you and your mother and your brother and sisters were killed and I took you in and didn't tell anybody? That's kind of a hard story to tell. But to have her tell, I mean, to me, if somebody says destroy all this information, the first thing I'm going to do is open it up. They're dead.
Well, I know.
Yes,
I know. Well, that was going to be my second question. How many of us absolutely would have opened that suitcase? Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
You told me no.
With
I'm
an
doing it right now.
on camera. That's right.
I'm the
right.
neighbor girl.
Yeah,
Let's
so
go.
it's a whole secret keeping. I think, and you're right. At some point, it's like, well, this is just going to be an uncomfortable conversation because I should have had it
Yeah.
50 years ago.
Well,
But-
I can now understand Nora's relationship with Penny, why it was so,
Yes.
why Penny, that wasn't her daughter. She wasn't even, well, she wasn't
then what
related
was
at all
really
to
weird-
her.
No. Right.
Right.
Yeah, because she was
Right.
Percy's
No
daughter.
blood relative at
Because
all.
the brother wasn't involved at all.
You're
Yeah.
right. But then it's so funny too that and I feel like I missed a little part of this too, but don't you feel like then Nora took Jessie from Penny? I mean,
Yes.
they talked
I
about that a
definitely
little bit.
That was her real baby.
Yeah.
And
And
I know,
Penny's
and,
like, you go away,
and I
she's gonna
still
stay
wonder
with me.
whether
That's how
that
I
was
felt.
right. I mean, yes, she did Razor Night, but
It was terrible.
I don't know. I
That
felt
creepy
that was
curtain
kind
house.
of a wrong. Nora, though, I don't know. Nora was a presence, and I guess you did what she said, but I don't know. And being so overprotected, but to me, it was surprising at the end how when Penny found this out, she let go, and she actually will become her own person.
Yeah. I thought that was
And I love that at the end, they ended up together.
Yeah.
Me
And
too.
I was
loved
a little
that bit why
surprised
they were
that
working
Jess just
together.
kind of took this all in.
Oh yeah,
Really.
Polly, not Penny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Polly.
We're talking
Polly.
about Polly.
Yeah,
Polly.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
Penny didn't sound quite right, but I knew. it
Sorry,
was
Polly.
Penny.
You guys are right.
Polly.
Sorry.
Yes, Polly. Yeah, Polly. She blossomed. I mean, just in a few pages, she blossomed.
I love that little
and
bit.
Jess just kind of seemed to fade into the background again.
I think there's so much heartbreak though for her now, knowing what she found
And
out,
that she was wrong about
knowing
everything.
about her mom, about
Her
the relationship
grandmother?
there, her
Yeah.
grandmother, what did she
Oh,
tell her
technically, that wasn't her
true?
grandmother either.
Yeah,
you know?
all of these things that I think she's probably just in this depression now that's like, I don't know who I am.
Exactly.
And now at this age and a place that I thought was my home, I now, what is my home?
Right.
I could not,
Right.
it gave me goosebumps to think. I
I
don't
know.
even know.
I know.
I also think though that I don't know, maybe I'm an advocate for honesty, even though sometimes it's brutal honesty.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is too late of a time.
Yeah.
Because at some point, the truth always comes out. That's what I tell all my kids.
It does.
You might lie and get away with it for 10 years. It's always going to come out.
Yeah.
So you might as well just bite the bullet and do it. And if you have waited that long, well, you're right. It is going to be a really uncomfortable conversation. You still it should have been Nora that said and
Something
had
like
that
Nora,
conversation.
Absolutely.
To
I mean,
give the
Nora-
whole perspective from her side. Because now they're just reading.
And technically, Nora died because of an injury because she was going up to destroy that information. It would have never come out, which is, I agree with you. I mean, I think that with Nora, I think maybe she was afraid of being alone, that, if Polly and everybody found out that they would not forgive her
So do
for
you
waiting so long.
think Percy always knew that Polly was his daughter?
I think he didn't know until they had that dinner.
Yeah.
Then he knew.
Yeah.
Then he knew, and I think he died okay. He found out before he died, and he was all right. But he deserved to know. Everybody deserved to know.
just, that would have been
a lot of lost
just
time.
think of the scandal that would have happened, but at least they would have known what had happened to that baby. And
In the family. What are these guys saying?
Yeah, no, they totally agree that she should have definitely said something.
Yeah.
It does make me wonder, though, if Polly is going to tell Jess who her real father is or who her father is, because Jess doesn't know.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to, or I thought she had looked that up, or had Jess looked that up, that wasn't he a senator or something, and found out that he had another family? Or am I thinking of the wrong guy?
No, she went, and that's who she thought it was, and it wasn't.
Oh, that's right. They had a DNA test.
You're right.
Yeah.
The way that the book ended was
They just left that hanging.
Polly had figured it out. She's going to tell her.
Yeah.
I believe she's going to tell her. I think living your whole life a lie because somebody kept a secret like that, Polly's going to tell her.
Well, now I think after all that's happened. So who was the father?
The father was Percy.
Of Jess.
Of
Jess.
She's going to tell her.
Oh, who
I
is
think
it?
it'll be fine.
I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Right? We don't
That's
know.
right. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
That was
But
one of
she's
my
gonna-
biggest, you never summed that up.
And another thread I thought was just kind of dropped was Matilda and Kurt. She was positive she was pregnant. Remember, they were out getting the potion, or and then there was one sentence about the coroner's report that said that, how did it go? It was the oddest comment, but she wasn't pregnant.
Right. But I think that was part of that developing, could have been this, and some sort of potion.
Yeah.
And it could have been, and maybe she took something.
But it just dropped. I mean, they just said, no,
I think she
wasn't
was
in it,
just trying to put we'll find more about that to try to get us to think of
I
different
think
people.
that Jess's father is John F. Kennedy in that story.
It's,
it's Polly who went.
Darlene said it's Jonathan James. He was a writer. Jess had Googled it, but then Polly had told her who
okay.
it was and how that
You
relationship.
see, there was so much going on in the last 200 pages that it's hard to remember who did
Wait,
what.
now what? What did I miss? So that was
When Jess left England.
Oh, that's
she
right.
had just. I'm sure she had. She had.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
It was
I do remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Donna wants to know the Nora's brother, that he just kind of all of a sudden they stopped talking about him, and if he knew at the end that Thea wasn't his, so is that why he never came home to help look for his baby? Did he assume that it wasn't his?
Yeah, he never come home, did
He
he?
never
Just,
came home. Yeah, so she feels like she has questions about that little relationship there, and everybody thinks that Jess and Polly are going to buy Halcyon and live
Yes.
there.
Well, Polly definitely
start their
was.
own.
Yeah, Polly definitely.
And I think that is a great thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where their story, started. So
Yeah.
Even though it was never theirs, it's
Right.
where their story is.
Right.
Yes,
I
agree.
think that's right. Okay. Favorite character. And let me just review. So we've got Nora, the grandmother, Polly, the mother, Jess, Isabel, Meg. There's all of the men that were in there.
Hmm.
I'm not sure who my favorite one
I know.
was.
And before
I'm not sure. Like, I did like the Nora Jess thing. Jess was a little for me. I liked Isabel as a person, and I never believed that she hurt her children. But
no.
and then all of the heartbreak and treachery came out, and then I was like, well, I don't know anyway.
Well, that's the
Toward
funny
the
thing
end,
is
I
that,
really liked Mom. Polly at the end is like, okay, you're pretty great.
well, I think we're so used to reading like books with heroines,
Yeah.
that
And
there
it's-
isn't really
yeah.
one in this one. You're right. But I really did like Isabel. I think that she really was a good mom. But also, she wasn't all that developed either, really. I mean, I don't know.
Or
You didn't know her,
unbalanced. And then at the very end, she was planning on leaving. See, all that was that was, oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That she's getting, and there was no hint of that anywhere. Well, other than she said to the Reverend about leaving something behind or something. Well, of course, everybody took it the wrong way. Yeah.
Without her kids.
Without her kids. Well,
Yeah.
everybody took it the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah.
So Allison agreed with us that there wasn't really one standout character for her. Darlene, it was for Polly because she had a rough time and turned out to be a good person. Jess was her favorite because she wouldn't give up. She wanted to know the truth. And I
That's
agree with
true.
that. There is something to
that's
know that
true.
I need to know. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Did you have a favorite character?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I really sympathized with, especially at the end, Becky. Is that was her name? The
girl?
gal that came over and helped
With the,
with the
oh,
baby.
yeah.
I
She
really
was really
sympathized
nice.
with her. Being a
Yeah.
little, seems like autistic maybe, and having such an attachment to this baby, knowing that is not, I mean, that is her baby.
Yeah,
Her baby. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I feel really
Yeah, when I
bad.
realized that that was the reason for the big ruckus, when she saw the baby and nobody believed her, nobody questioned
Yeah.
what she was saying.
Again, where were the
That-
policemen?
Yeah.
Good detective.
Oh, they just
No.
brushed it off. Oh, she's
Yeah,
just
she's a little
special
off.
needs.
Yeah, she's a little.
transferring to
Yeah.
the only
Mhm.
baby around. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Somebody did remark though about, I don't know who made the remark, but they went to visit Nora when she was still at the house, and by that time, she had Thea. Boy, this baby's grown. Because
I think
her
it was
baby
the
would have been,
officers, right?
just a couple weeks old, and your Thea was a couple months old by that time.
And there's a few, Honor and Cindy, they liked Percy.
Yeah,
Made
I
a
like
mistake, but he was still a good man and still
I
stood
like
by,
Percy.
Meg and his boys, even though there was a whole lot of extra secrets that he now had to, keep in his pocket too.
I think he was honest. He was a good guy.
Percy,
I like
Percy.
Jess for the most part for the same reason. She wanted to find out, but she just kind of withered at the end when she found out the secrets and stuff. It was kind of like she was disappointed, or I don't know, just what her reaction was. Just kind of, and I like I don't know, that even though we never met the guy or heard from the guy, Daniel Miller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I did like him. I like the description of how in depth he acted. I mean,
Yeah.
he did most of the investigative work. I mean, that just
Really,
shows
he
how
did.
shoddy
Mhm.
the investigation was. If a writer, a
Mhm.
journalist is now doing it all for you. But
When I was looking up some stuff, so you can Google book club questions, and what happens is the author always writes all the questions. So I looked, and everybody had the same ones, and some of them it's like, oh, it's a little too deep for a book that wasn't, I think, wasn't developed the same way. But anyway, so I went into a little deeper dive about it. And one thing that's an interesting tidbit is that currently there are 31 book clubs, registered book clubs, that are reading this book.
Oh,
Wow.
And those are just the registered book clubs, not just the little, our little
ones,
mom and poppy ones. But but anyway, 31 that are actively reading it. Amber Cox told me that finally she is King County Library. When she first put it on hold, she was number like 167th, and they have 9 copies. And as of this weekend, she was finally down to the 31st person in line for it.
Okay, that brings me to a new app that I found.
Tell us.
So now I don't know if it works for everybody. So for the North Central Washington libraries,
It works for our library.
I think it's for everybody.
For everybody.
I can't remember how I clicked because it was really late. when
See,
I did
I
it.
can't do the North Central Washington Library because
Do you have
Lincoln
a library
County.
card?
Yeah, but Lincoln
Lincoln County's
County
not part of
wasn't
it?
involved
Oh,
So
unless it's changed.
it's Hoopla, Hoopla. It's a little blue square, Hoopla, all lowercase. When I clicked on that, it said provided to you by North Central Washington Libraries. But I do believe I had to put in my zip code. So it is very possible that your library, your Libby app is attached to that. And it didn't cost me anything. All I had to do was put in my email address and put in my library card. And all of these books are in there with no wait. You don't have to wait in line for them. And there's audio, there's reading, and there's some that Hoopla has that my library does not have.
wow.
Yeah. So try Hoopla. I just did it right on my phone. It's this little blue guy over here. But try that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because I think that's part of the problem, when we think, oh, is it a brand new book or whatever? But so that's a good tidbit.
Yes.
So the other thing I wanted to mention about this is that, what was the name of the town? Tarryton, no, Telluride.
No.
Taluba.
Tell.
Anyways, we are all there.
It is not a real town. So somebody had asked, is that a real place? It is not a real
No.
place. However, Halcyon is a real place. When Kate Morton was off on some mountain trek during the pandemic and hiking or whatever, she came across this big, old, beautiful castle-ish house, kind of overgrown, must have been magnificent back in the day, and now a little overgrown, and who knows what. And the name of that house was Halcyon.
Oh, that's cool. Because I noticed this was also under historical fiction. So
Yeah.
it made me think, well, what if that town wasn't
And
real?
I think sometimes they get historical fiction just because it's an era.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't go back that far. 1960. I mean,
But that's
come
cool
on.
that the description of Halcyon was a real.
Yeah.
Well, I
Real
finally
place.
got
Yeah,
out
it's
a map of
interesting.
Australia and looked to see just where it was in comparison to where Sydney was and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And it says in here the acknowledgments that there is no that town.
Yeah.
But there are other, like Adelaide and Sydney and stuff like
yeah.
and the rivers and stuff like that. Are
The
real.
funny thing that I kept thinking, and I could not get this out of my head, and even right now when I picture it, I don't picture people dressed like the 1960s. I have this
I do too.
Victorian having a picnic down, and because we traveled by boat to get
Yes, their
it is
corset, a whole lot of dress.
100%
Oh my gosh.
Victorian.
Me too.
I cannot get that out of my head that
The
they're
big
wearing
hair with
corsets
the
and
hat.
up.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Right.
I did too.
I did not have it in my head.
I did.
You
I
did? How did you have a picture? 1960s? Yeah.
Oh, I did not.
Or even today.
Oh, not me.
We
at
were
all.
so stuck on all of the landscape and the hills and how beautiful this river
Well,
was.
And the
See,
road
actually,
garden.
it did
And my
take-
favorite cup of
it did
tea.
take- well, I
I
guess-
mean, it just,
Well, maybe
it's
1980. But yeah, I pictured it. I didn't picture it 1960 with the picnic, but I'd like Jess was a modern day.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Lori said the same
thing. Yeah, I
don't
just
know
had
why.
it pictured all
I did
very
too.
proper.
Victorian, yeah.
Victorian.
Hands down, I did too.
Yeah.
No.
A picnic down under the live oak. I mean,
Come
that was the good old days. We don't do that now.
Yeah.
Grab a bag of chips. Let's go swimming.
Yeah.
Make some peanut butter and jelly. Anyway.
Yeah,
All
that's so funny. I did too. And even
That's
every
funny.
time the chapter said spring of, 1959, nope. Didn't
Nope.
change my image.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Not at
And
all.
to me,
at
that
all.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
so funny. I don't know why.
All right. I only had a few people that had emailed, and a lot of people said that they really did like the book. And Rose, why did they print off Rose Clearwaters? She said she really enjoyed the book, and it was a total surprise by the ending.
Yeah.
And she had said that she really has liked book club because, and we've talked about this, I think, every time you venture off maybe into a few new categories, something that you might not have read. But the other thing I think that's really important is that I don't want to waste my time on a book that's not good. There was a book that I read, I can't even think of the title, I'd have to look it up, but like a couple of books ago, and I did not enjoy it at all. And I know that the whole reason was because the lead character in it, I did not like her. I didn't like her at all. I thought she was a horrible person. And even at the end when she kind of, all right.
Well, I think
it's hard to read if you don't like anybody.
I think if we knew Nora's secret early on, I think it would have ruined the book for me.
Yeah, I agree
if
with
I
you.
would have learned
I agree.
earlier that Nora was not who we
I
thought
agree.
she was, I would
I
have been
agree.
done.
Oh, yeah, that was the whole, Tambilla.
Tambilla.
There we go. And Honor thinks that maybe we were still stuck in the Frozen River era.
Oh, yeah.
Clean our palate before we got to the 60s.
Yes. I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
So in talking about, was that a scream?
Yeah, we're good.
That was
No
an angry
tears.
scream.
Wyatt and Harper in there. It's summer and Maisie's over it.
I went in there earlier. She was screaming, so I went to look through the zoo to see what was.
Can you hear that?
Can you hear her?
My
What was
kids
happening?
The big ones are laughing. So.
Yeah. Wyatt was on one beanbag chair and Harper was on the other. And Maisie was laying on top of Harper trying to get her to move. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to let this play out. So she doesn't like them in her
They're
room.
all hers. All of
I
that stuff in
know.
there is hers. She doesn't have to share.
Yeah,
Look, I
know.
thought I would keep my trio out of the extra in there because they every
No
20
need to
minutes
be on
"Can I go in the
Maisie's
playroom.
list."
No,
Don't go in there.
Don't go in there.
Don't go in there. Yeah. All right. So for future reads, so let's see. Rose had mentioned the women, and a lot of people have recommended that. And that truly is, I believe that the women will be absolutely in my top 10 for 2024 by Kristen Hanna. We've talked about that a couple times. A lot of people have read it. A lot of people are reading it. I think that everyone should read it, but that's going to be another one that you're going to be 150th in line for. So it might be a difficult one to do on book club to think that people can get the book, because that's the other thing that we're trying to do is how can we figure out how it's like free on Audible or, whatever. So,
right.
But I agree with her. The women is like a big one. So let's look at for next month. The big winner, I don't have it in here. The big winner is The Last Thing He Told Me.
Yes.
I have read it. We'll talk in a month though. It's very good. We'll talk later. The number 2 was The Lone Jackass. And this was the book that Pam Severs sent us. Have you read it? I haven't either. It's next on my list, but many people have read
Definitely
it and have said that it's good, that it's very, in fact, many people have said it's so good that they're now reading her second one.
Yeah,
or
which
her
is
first.
this
I'm
one.
not sure if this was her first.
I think this
or her
one
second.
was her first.
This one was her first.
Carrie's Guest. This was her first book.
Yeah. So people have said she's a very, very good author.
Oh, there's tears.
There's
Carrie.
tears. Is
Carrie
that
on.
tears? She's going to sneak out for a minute.
Sorry.
And we'll keep talking. And then, oops, are we unplugged?
No, they can see us.
Okay. And then number 2 for next month, the runner-up was A Prayer for Owen Meany. And then I have not read this one. A lot of people said that this was like an English lit book that they had to read in school. And I just know that it was listed in top 50 books or top 100 books you should read before you die. But also there's some sort of trigger stuff that it's a tearjerker. But I'm used to those. This one, a lot of people have talked about this. This one is getting a whole lot of press. A lot of people are doing this in other book clubs. It does seem a little weird on the back, but again, I am not somebody who reads the back. I feel like the back never, ever, ever really tells you what's happening. It might tell you it's about a husband and a wife in the 1960s. That's all I want to know. I don't want you to tell me anything else. But this one came in last. But I'm going to read it anyway. But I don't know. Somebody said the worst thing I heard about this was that too much science. But I kind of like the sciencey stuff.
Yeah, I like to mix it up.
I like it a little bit. This was the one, I've talked about this a couple of times. So this is the one that is for, oh my gosh, this is so good. We had mentioned it back, and I don't know why we didn't put a young adult book on this last time, because it's kind of nice if you're reading with grandkids or children and you want to suggest something. This was such a good book. I just loved it, loved it, loved it. Mm-hmm. Young adult, and it's about an author who writes all these stories, and he has this magical place, and you win a trip to come and visit him. And anyway, it's just a really good book.
It's like Willy Wonka, but for library.
It is. You kind of, know how it's going to end, and there isn't any, I think they're trying to write that there's surprises, but if you're a seasoned reader, you're not going to be surprised. Possibly Eliza will be surprised, but it was super good. Highly recommended. But anyway, so these are the ones that and then what am I missing here? Oh, I'm missing the last thing he said to me.
Told me.
The last thing he told me. Yeah, because that's the book that we're reading for this month to review in July. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. The last thing he told me. All right. Any closing comments? The reason Tracy is not here, she did not finish the book, but is she going to finish it?
I think so.
I don't know.
She's still in that same place where all of us were.
Yeah, she's just where Percy has walked to them.
This book. It just, thought, okay, I'm reading this book.
Yeah.
See, and the Australian accent didn't bother me. I read it at 1.7.
Really? Wow.
But I do it while I'm quilting, so it gives me this nice little.
I could not understand
how I read almost all of.
See, I think that probably helped that I didn't hear it with the Australian accent. Although they didn't use too many Australian slang words or things like that. There were places and stuff that it's because it's a country, I haven't really looked at too much or been to, but I've read enough. The Thornbirds. Talk about a good book.
Oh, the Thornbirds.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one thing that I forgot is we were keeping a list of some of the weird Aussie slang terms, and I forgot that. There were some odd ones. Yeah, I can't remember now, but.
Yeah, she didn't really use a whole lot, about things they did, or they were just talking about people.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people said the acting didn't bother them either. I wouldn't say it bothered me, but I had to concentrate. Right. And I feel like when I'm reading, I'm also quilting or doing dishes. And something that I don't have to really concentrate at doing, but I felt like I was super distracted with who was in my head this time, where I would just all of a sudden stop.
Did the same person do all the characters?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, was that then hard to tell the difference between Jess or Nora or Polly or?
No.
Oh, okay.
And it was half and half. People listened, people read. Yeah. And I have to say, I listened to it for the first 2 chapters. I was like, because I couldn't speed it up. Because usually I do a 1.5, I think, like Mom. And I felt like I had to concentrate on what she was saying to catch all of the words and all of everything. So, I think I can read faster than regular speed.
I think that that's part of it, is that if you are reading a book, you are pretty involved. You're not doing something different.
Right.
You are focusing on that word. And also you can graze ahead through the sex scenes or through whatever. It's like, okay, I'm going to skip. And now here we go again. Or whatever. Yeah. But I think when you're listening, oftentimes the reason that I like an audiobook is because I'm gardening or cleaning or sewing or quilting. And so I have to concentrate enough on whatever else it is that I'm doing. And so that accent was just foreign to me. Yeah, messing with me a lot. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Okay. Any other, do they have anything that we,
I don't think so.
I read it. Which ones are they saying?
A lot of them read it.
The women.
A lot. No, they're talking, this one. Homecoming.
Oh, Homecoming. Oh, I read. Oh, versus listened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cynthia said she didn't finish it. It's
no.
hard to get through the other, but I get it. Didn't finish it. Don't think she'll probably pick it back up, but she's on to the next book. So,
On to the next one. And
That's
I think
okay,
it's okay
too.
to. There's one that I'm listening to now that it's that same thing. I don't particularly care for any of the characters really, and they keep making there's a murder that happened, and now they're doing this stupid stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, you guys are so dumb. And I noticed last night I was cleaning and starting laundry, and all of a sudden I would stop and go, oh my gosh. And then I, keep walking, and I thought, no, now I'm almost done, but I thought now I don't like these people. They're just as dumb as can be, but I need to make it to the end to see if there's some redeeming thing with this, because
I will give everybody heads up on the last thing he told me. There are no murders in this book.
there are not.
There are no murders.
No murders.
and
Nobody's
it's
murdered.
a TV show or something. Is it a TV
It is.
show or a movie?
It's on Apple, I think.
Apple TV.
A
And
movie.
it's a movie?
No,
Or a
I think
series?
it's a series.
Oh.
I don't
I've
know.
heard. I haven't.
Series.
Oh, maybe
You
it's a
have Apple
movie.
TV. Check it out.
Yeah, but could it be a series? How much are you reading?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a movie. I don't know. I just saw that it was on Apple,
Mhm.
but I don't think I would watch it because it gives it away. Because there's stuff to give away
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. I liked it.
It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, a lot of people have done it. Linda said her and Alex had listened to it on a road trip.
good.
Oh.
Good.
Said finish it at home, but yeah. Oh, and Jenny said it is a series.
Oh, it is a series. Wow. I didn't think it was that.
Mm-hmm. And Allison said she almost was going to start watching it. She's glad she hasn't watched it so she can read the book
Yeah.
first.
I
Yeah,
would
read the book.
then.
I think you should always read the book first.
I agree.
Mhm.
But I don't know. All right.
Fun.
Okay. Any last minute things? Everybody's all good? Well, I think we're ending a little early, but that's good. That's all right.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of time left. We're in the middle of retreat season. Let's see how many down. 3 down. 2 to go.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We
That'd be
did. We did Southern Comfort. We did Tracy's
Mixed
Mixed Media. We did the first bag retreat. We have the second bag retreat starting tomorrow.
And then
No,
you
not
have,
tomorrow. Wednesday, but we have people
Wednesday.
coming
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
then you have 3 more after that.
Then we have
Sunday
the next
days.
week after that is Sunny Days. Then we have a little bit of a break before.
And 2 more.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Then we break for the heat of the summer.
So that's why, we've been hard at it from 5 a.m. until I'm too drunk to. I'm not really drunk, but it's funny. It's that. But when you get so tired,
Yeah,
that
you're-
it feels like drunk.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, don't ask me about a seam allowance. I'm not going to give you the right
I
answer.
agree.
So yeah.
All right.
All right, you guys.
Fantastic.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
hanging
hanging
out with us.
That's great. All right.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye.
See ya
in a
next
month.
month.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right.